Grease is one of those iconic movies that I know a lot of people that grew up in the 80s and probably 70s and maybe 90s watched when they were kids, and then you realize as you get older what Grease Lightning is really about. So when I heard that Solo Look was coming out with a Grease themed palette, I was so excited. If you want to see what this Grease palette is all about, we're going to slice open this packaging together and let's find out whether it's worth your purchase or not. Hang tight, we're getting into it right now. I always wondered if Sandy and Danny actually ended up like getting married and staying together. I would imagine on the premise that, you know, he only really liked her when she changed who she was. I would doubt that that relationship would last. But that's just my speculation. I could go on with Grease stories all day long, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about this eyeshadow palette. So this says, who, me? Yeah, you. Solo Look, and it says, we're mega excited for you to try out our products, and it talks about the release date. You get a really cool Rizzo sticker in here that says, okay girls, let's go get them. I love this. This like makes my nostalgic heart just go, oh, I love it. Pitter patter, pitter patter. I love it. You know, maybe she feels a little sad for the way that she's judged, but she never compromises who she is. And I love that about Rizzo. So I'm really happy that they decided to put her on the sticker because she's pretty awesome. All right, so here is the Pink Ladies palette. Oh my gosh. This is going to be a first impression review because, as you may know, I am leaving for a long summer trip. So all I can do for this week and next week is do first impressions for you, or else it just won't happen at all. So let me just give you some quick information about this palette and the brand. The palette is going to be $40. It is made in the PRC and it is distributed in Massachusetts of the United States. This is in collaboration with Paramount, so this is an officially licensed product. It is a cruelty-free product and it does say that they are FDA compliant. It's paraben-free, gluten-free, and there is some confusion about whether something can be made in the People's Republic of China and be cruelty-free. Yes, it can. The only way that products are not cruelty-free as far as China is concerned is if they're being sold to Chinese consumers. The Chinese government doesn't care about exports. They only care about their Chinese consumers. So if this product were to be sold in Chinese stores, it would have to be tested on animals. But since it's directly exported, it does not need to be tested on animals. That's something that is very commonly misunderstood. One thing that is really cool about this palette, and I do want to let you know I'm still going to be very honest about this palette, but if you flip it over to the back, it says Solo Look would like to thank the following people for making this palette possible, and they actually put Jen Lo's reviews on the back here, which was really nice of them. We talk about them all the time in the Makeup News show, and I've been in contact back and forth with the owner of Solo Look for a really long time, but that does not mean we are giving them a break though. We are still going to definitely talk about the pros and cons of this palette either way, and the owners of Solo Look know that. So let's go ahead and open this baby up. You've got the Pink Ladies eyeshadow palette and you've got this beautiful picture, and then on the back you have all their names, Frenchie, Rizzo, Jan, and Marty, and there they are. I'm kind of sad Sandy's not on here. I mean, I guess they're kind of the real Pink Ladies and Sandy kind of joined them, so if it's Pink Ladies, probably Sandy really shouldn't be on here if we're talking about really and truly. Now we open this up and we've got a picture of Rizzo here and she's singing "There Are Worse Things I Could Do," and I love that song. I love that song. And then we peel this off and we have a mirror here and let's see. Nope, not a wonky mirror. That's really good. And we've got 10 shades here. One critique I already have is that they are all shimmer shades. I wish that they had included some mattes in here. That makes me a little bit sad, but we're gonna try to work with it anyway. Another critique I see right away is that I wish that there was a true pink like this, like their jackets. I wish they had like actually matched up the pink from the jackets and made a shade that color. I can also would have loved to have seen a cha-cha red. That would have been amazing because I loved cha-cha back in the day. But overall, I do like the color scheme of it. This electrifying color is really cool. I don't think I own anything quite like that just from glancing at it. And I think that I'm going to be able to create some really neat looks with this. I'm just going to need some matte shadows to kind of anchor it down. I don't personally like to create looks with just shimmers. So now I have to decide what colors I'm going to play with. Maybe we'll do like a peachy lid with like a blue pop on the lower lash line. We'll play with it. We'll see what we'll do. But overall, this is my favorite design from Solo Look that they've come out with. I'm gonna go ahead and put a picture of the Dirty Dancing palette there. I was not a fan of the color design there. The liquid lipstick in there was amazing though, just so you know. And then here is the Flashdance palette. Love the colors in there, but wish that the pan sizes were smaller and that they had included more shades in the Flashdance palette. But the quality of the Flashdance palette was amazing. It was so good. My next video that I'm gonna be filming is the Life's a Drag first impression. So I'm gonna be setting it up with the matte shades from here, but I'm not gonna use any of the colors from this palette. I'm just gonna use the matte. So let's go ahead and zoom in and we'll get started on the demo.
We made our way to the shoreline. We got away from the worst. And I'm not sure we're okay yet. We're lovers, don't you know? Oh, we're lovers, don't you know? Bear with me, bear with me. We're never gonna give up. Bear with me, bear with me. Bear with me, bear with me. We're never gonna give up. Bear with me, bear with me.
Okay, so I made an executive decision to take that eye look off and start over. I am absolutely heartbroken right now because I love the people over at Solo Look and my name is on the back of the palette. Like it's breaking my heart that these shadows are not working well for me. When I try to put them onto the lid, they don't adhere to the lid. They're not sticking to the lid, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna do is let's start again and let's try to use a glitter glue and see if that helps the shadows to adhere to the lid, to see if we can work with this. So I'm gonna do my best to try to make this work, and if it takes an extra step of glitter glue and that's not a deal breaker for you, then maybe that'll help. Maybe there's too much silica in here. They're really, really, really soft. So that's what I'm thinking, is there's just too much silica. But we're gonna try it again. I'm gonna set down the same base with Manny shades from the Life's a Drag palette, and then we'll go in again with some glitter glue and let's try it again. that did not go as expected, and even though I'm a huge fan of the people over at Solo Look, these are reviews unfiltered, and even if I love a brand, it doesn't mean that I'm going to love every product that they put out, and I'm really sad that it didn't work out without the glitter glue, but it seems to be working with the glitter glue. But the true test is going to be whether this lasts throughout the day with the glitter glue, because maybe that's not a deal breaker for you, that you need a glitter glue with it for it to adhere to the eye. But it was much harder to work with than any other Solo Look palette I've ever worked with before, and I don't know what's going on there. I just realized there were some things I did not mention about the palette. It is a cardboard packaging with a magnetic closure, and also I didn't mention that it's got these cute little L's embossed in each of the shadows that I think is adorable. And then with ingredients, just very quickly, it is mica and talc based. The third ingredient is bismuth oxychloride, so if you're sensitive to that ingredient, you definitely do not want to purchase this. There is dimethicone in this, as well as phenoxyethanol as the preservative. There are 2 pigments in here that are not lip safe, but all of these are FDA approved for eye use. And then there is carmine in here, so if you are not a fan of using carmine, then you definitely don't want to use this. If you're vegan, things like that. It's currently 3:19 in the afternoon, so we'll be back after the day and we're going to see how this wears. Oh, I forgot to mention, I did use the one shade as a highlight. I used the shade Too Pure as a highlight to see how that works, and I think it looks really pretty as a highlight. I hope it stays on. I don't have any foundation on, so it's really just hanging out on its own, so I don't have high hopes for it hanging in as a highlighter, but we shall see. Before we come back, I will show you some swatches just to show you how they do swatch on the arm, and yeah, we'll be back at the end of the evening. See you then. All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for swatches of the Solo Look Pink Ladies palette? I do really love the names of this palette, by the way. We're going to go ahead and start with Blonde Pineapple, So Pink, Peachy Keen, and Beauty School. And as you can see, they finger swatch pretty well. The lighter ones are similar to my skin tone, so they're not going to show up as much on me as they may show up on someone of a deeper skin tone. And you can see they brush swatch okay. I think Peachy Keen brush swatch is the worst, and you saw in the demo that that was a shade that I really had trouble building up and keeping looking good. I do see a little bit of repetition in the shades Blonde Pineapple and Beauty School. They are different in that Blonde Pineapple definitely does have more of a yellow undertone to it, where Beauty School is a little bit more brown, but they're so close. I wish that they had done a different shade instead of one or the other. And if you are new to my channel, you are new to the wipe test, and the purpose of this is to show how the shadows stain the skin, and this really is an indication of lasting power. And as you can see, they do all wipe away, except for you can still see just a little bit of Beauty School left over. It's not a good sign. Jelly Bean, Too Pure, Summer Lovin', and Electrifying are next. Electrifying I was really excited about, and then when I put Jelly Bean on my lower lash line, it was like, yes! Really excited about those 2 shades in particular. I did bring that Electrifying down one more time just to kind of blend it downward. You can see Jelly Bean, it definitely isn't as pigmented when swatched on, so that one may be better packed onto the skin with a fingertip. These light shades really aren't super bright in the swatches. I do find them to be a little bit brighter on the eye when they're packed on, but they really definitely could be brighter in my opinion. And then Electrifying is, again, just a little less pigmented in the brush swatch. And then getting into the wipe test, I do know that we don't wipe our eyes like this throughout the day, but I've found that it really is quite true to lasting power. And this is over no primer, it's just straight onto my arm. You can see Jelly Bean and Electrifying are the only ones left. Finally, we have Heartbreak and Frosty Palace. These 2 are probably my favorite shades, just swatching them. I haven't tried Heartbreak on the eyes yet, but the swatches and the colors are really beautiful. Frosty Palace really does brush swatch beautifully. That's probably the strongest shade in the palette. I just love the shine on that one as well. Heartbreak does leave a little to be desired in the brush swatch. So again, this one is probably going to be one you want to tap on with your fingertip. And then as we wipe them away, we can see that Frosty Palace really does stain the skin pretty well. So if the swatches are any indication, that's definitely going to be the strongest shade in the palette as far as lasting power. Look at me, I'm Sandra D. You know that song I actually thought when they were like, my voice is cracking, I'm tired and I'm still sick. But that song, I honestly thought she just didn't want to sleep until she was married. Like, honestly, that's what I thought. I would love to know any other misconceptions that you had about that movie when you were younger. Like, what did you think it meant? And then what did you find out later on that it really meant? I'm just super curious. All right, let's check on this eye look. I looked at it a little while ago and I was actually pleasantly surprised because you all know I fought with this in the beginning. Let me zoom you in. All right, so let's look at the eyes. And as you can see, I do have some transfer of the glitter up onto the brow bone. I've been having that problem with so many shadows lately, and I'm honestly thinking that part of it might be the glitter glue itself, that it's transferring up because it's tacky, and when I open my eye, some of the tackiness might be getting a little bit onto my brow bone. But if you've seen any of my recent videos, the Laura Lee palette, what was the other one that I did? There was another one, the Kat Von D palette. Both of those did the exact same thing, so I'm thinking it might be a glitter glue thing. But just mental note that it did transfer up on my brow bone, but overall, I feel like this lasted really, really well. Also, honorable mention on the assist to the Life's a Drag palette, because those brown shades are definitely still there as well. I forgot to tell you what time it is. It is currently 11:41. I have my night shift on, so it's like all dark looking, but it's 11:41, so it's been a solid 8.5 hours, and I really do think it looks good. Let me go ahead and zoom you out. I apologize for the dark space over here. We'll fix the lighting one day. One day we'll get a light for this side when the sun isn't shining. But final thoughts on this. I honestly think the biggest market for this are going to be people who want it for the nostalgia factor. Personally, I know I am in that category for nostalgia for Grease. It's got a special place in my heart, so I would probably purchase this for that part of it, and knowing that there is a way to work with it. There is a way to get these shadows here to work. It just takes that glitter glue, and if that's a deal breaker for you, like, I totally get that, and I think with most palettes, that would be a deal breaker for me. But for this one, it's not a deal breaker, and it really does have to do with the nostalgia. It also has to do with my personal, feelings about Solo Look in general, and then I just really love the brand. I love the people that work there, so that also would make me personally purchase. Now, if I stripped away the grease and I stripped away the brand, I probably wouldn't purchase this palette, and the reason why is just because of that I knew I needed to use that glitter glue, and for $40, I feel like that's kind of crazy, like, to have to use the glitter glue. But I mean, I definitely think there's a market for this palette. I think it's a lot of fun. I love the colors that are in here. It's just that blending killed me, man. It absolutely killed me. And I did talk to the people over at Solo Look, and I did let them know, and I was like, dude, like, it's breaking my heart. And they did say that they did send this to a couple of other influencers. I think they're on Instagram though, and they did say that those people did not have the same issues that I had. But I'm not going to omit it. I'm not going to leave it out. I'm going to show you. This is Reviews Unfiltered, so I'm not filtering anything out. I'm going to break it down to you that I did have significant difficulty with these shades here on my lids. I do want to thank Solo Look for sending this to me. I hope you know that I love you dearly, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate that you took a chance and sent this to me. It means a lot to me. And thank you, of course, so much for watching. If you decide that you do want to purchase this and you do purchase it, I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments below, what you think of it. And if this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to click that subscribe button before you go if you enjoyed the video. And if you're returning, thanks so much for coming back and spending part of your day with me. I appreciate you. Mad love. Ride El High forever. Bon voyage. And I will see you in a video very, very soon.